Good evening and welcome back to Defining Virtuosity. I'm Odin Rathman, professor of violin at Cleveland State University. And next on the plate is a little tutorial on Wohlfahrt's third etude, marked Moderato. This is one that I like to teach with a fastish détaché that starts to approach the balancing point, and we begin again working on the jumping strokes. When my uncle taught me spiccato, he was a student of Ivan Galamian's from 1959 to 64. He always said that, you know, in order to bounce on a trampoline, you have to have impetus into the trampoline, and not to think of spiccato so much as a stroke that we work for, but one that we allow to happen by giving the bow the best working conditions. And he believed strongly that that meant that since when the fiddle is flat, the strings are sloped down, it was better if the strings were flat, so the scroll slightly higher than the chin rest. And likewise, if the bow could be as flat over the floor, the easiest place to bounce a bow would then be on the G string, close to the balancing point. There, you know, the point at which you have 30 grams of bow weight to either side of the, I can try to balance it, I hope I don't have a disaster here, where you have the same amount of weight to either side of the string, and the bow will sort of balance, you see. That's the balancing point. At that point of the bow, we can do the slowest spiccato, and it's based on the string having resistance, not on trying to lift it out or anything, and then relating that stroke to the détaché until the bow wants to hop by itself. I don't have much rosin on here, but the idea is that in a spiccato stroke, we're letting the bow bounce, and if anything, energy is being thrown down into the string, dropping into the string, not lifting out. Right? So we have that contact. So for the beginning of that, I revert them back to the collet only because they feel the bow contact in both directions that way, and mix a little arm in and let the bow do its thing. Again, this is often easier to study on a double stop than on a single string, because then this young student doesn't tip a little bit towards another string or towards the other, because they immediately would lose the double stop in that case. So with that in mind, they would start studying that's a little scrubby. I am completely relaxed, but those impulses will bounce very easily. Once that's understood, in order to classicize it, to make it something that can be used in more we have to get rid of some of that edge and add more vowel. But we start with that for the bouncing purposes. So this is the idea of the stroke. And again, it's important to make sure that your left hand is perfect before you add the stroke, or you can have little mishaps like that. but I believe in the vulnerability of my humanity, so it stays. We have these changes in pattern, and that's what typically can throw us. Had I done the preliminary study of going through it slowly, slurred, that wouldn't have happened. So it's very important when you study these that you do the right preliminary work. I would tell my students, make sure that you check your left hand rhythm. I love left hand rhythm. No matter if you're doing Paganini, Moto Perpetuo, anything like that, it keeps you honest because you can't cheat. That kind of work makes you learn how to be clear vertically and smooth horizontally. Charles Traeger always said to students, got this secondhand, to keep their horizontal motions on the instrument completely legato, and I would definitely agree with that. It's much more accurate when you move in a smooth way. So that is the little tutorial on Wohlfahrt number 3. I hope that it helps you, and stay tuned for more coming up very shortly, number 4.